Good afternoon, friends. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Franky, and this is the Think Tank. So, it's 6 years since Abby and Libby lost their lives. They were discovered earlier in the day on February 14th, 6 years ago. Justice, I do believe, is coming. There's been I don't know what you'd call it, a lot of drama around this case, a lot of names that have been brought up, starting with, I guess, let's start with Keegan. There's been Keegan Klein. I don't know if he's part of this still. His dad is Tony. There's Ron Logan. There's Richard Allen. So this has been a long time coming. I believe that they've probably got their man, but I also think that there's a good possibility that there are more than him involved. There is a possibility in my mind that there's some kind of connection to Anthony Schatz, to Keegan Klein, to Richard Allen, and possibly more. I think that there's a reason that this area, as far as law enforcement, they keep things pretty close to the chest. So we don't really ever know what they have, if they have enough. But I will say, they haven't arrested anybody previous to Richard Allen. And to me, that says a lot about the situation. I know a lot of people, they just are having a hard time believing that he would be the guy. But to me, I don't know. A lot of times when it's sitting right on your doorstep, you don't recognize it. So with that said, I thought maybe we would take a look at, we'll go through one of the videos that was first. Let's see here. So this is going to be law enforcement talking about the details in the case.
Seldom do I have prepared remarks, but today is different because I do not want there to be any confusion or ambiguity with what I will say. Today is not a day to celebrate. But the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation. First, I'd like to speak directly to Anna, Mike, Becky, Kelsey, your extended families, along with the entire Delphi community that certainly has grown and now includes our nation and even many countries around the world. I am proud to report to you that today, actually last Friday, was the day. and an arrest has been made. Thanks to literally hundreds of media outlets that have been steadfast in reporting and keeping the memories of Abby and Libby front and center. Many of you in the room have developed relationships with me personally, and I always have a personal perspective, and today's no different. But from a very personal perspective, you all have provided inspiration and support, even while oftentimes frustrated with us and me. You continue to encourage the efforts, and you too believe that one day we would all be here participating and sharing this news. To the entire law enforcement community, which includes all local, state, and federal agencies, which are far too many to specifically mention today, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are going to continue a very methodical and committed approach to ensure that if any other person had any involvement in these murders in any way.
So him coming out with that makes me truly wonder if there is another person involved or in their sights, because they have committed themselves to finding others, as they've said. So I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. Richard Allen just had a bail hearing a few days back, and of course it was denied, but I don't know. He seems to think he should get bail.
That person or persons will be held accountable. Since the murders of Abby and Libby 2,086 days ago, the daily investigative team has worked tirelessly and is certainly worthy of mention today. Specifically, Sheriff Linsonby, the Sheriff of Carroll County, Detectives Tony Liggett, Detective retired Kevin Hammond, former Delphi Chief and now the prosecutor's investigator Steve Mullins, State Police First Sergeant Jerry Holman, Detectives Jay Harper, Dave Vito, and Brian Harshman, along with members of the United States Marshal Service, specifically Agent Jeremy Clinton and Agent Bill Culfers. With them today is Dan McClain, the U.S. Marshal, appointed U.S. Marshal. Our state police analyst, our scientist from many different disciplines within our laboratory division, Mrs. Kathy Shank, for your incredible dedication to detail, and to so many others that I know I've missed. I really believe that Abby and Libby would be proud of you for standing strong, even in the face of immense pressure and perpetual criticism. Some of these individuals have postponed retirement.
So we're just going to go through a little bit of this, and then we will just give us, the groundwork as to how this part happened. And then we'll go through some different articles and see what kind of updates they have. I'm really impressed that they've made this arrest. I truly am. And they kept it very, very quiet, which is very much what this particular area does.
Passed on promotional opportunity, have dedicated personal time away from their families, given up nights, weekends, and holidays, all while in the pursuit of accountability for Abby and Libby. I know that today's announcement will not diminish your resolve, and I hope you have found just a bit of peace in this most complicated world. This is really important. While I know you are all expecting final details today concerning this arrest, today is not that day. Today is not that day. This investigation is far from complete, and we will not jeopardize its integrity by releasing or discussing documents or information before the appropriate time. Prosecutor Nick McClellan, of course, will share additional information about what we can and cannot say, and also explain to you why the probable cause affidavit is temporarily sealed by the court and not available. And by the way, he has been a tremendous, tremendous asset to this team. I'm yet again asking you for your patience and please your understanding while our system of due process works. Also remember that all persons arrested are presumed innocent. All persons arrested are presumed innocent. You all will have an innate desire to subjectively interpret and then report what you think. We in the law enforcement realm cannot, and you should never allow us to, talk about what we think concerning facts, but rather discuss and share at the right time what it is we know. The time will come when additional details can be released. But again, today is not that day.
There we go. I think I'm going to leave that part there. And they've done a very impressive job. It seemed to have come out of nowhere. So here, this is going to talk a little bit about what other people have been going through and explaining different angles of the last 6 years.
Here at the trailhead, even 6 years later, it was February 13th, 2017, when Abby and Libby came here to go for a walk on the trails. But when they didn't come back, their families knew something was wrong. The girls' bodies were found the next day in a wooded area near Deer Creek. It was Valentine's Day. 6 years later, people in this small community tell us it's still hard to believe. One man saying an arrest last October should have felt like a sigh of relief, but not yet, he says. Others telling us Delphi is determined to find justice.
It's a closed community that people, really love and respect one another. So I think that's something that keeps everybody going.
Today, nearly 4 months after the arrest of 50-year-old Richard Allen, there are still wanted posters just like this one covering downtown Delphi. As residents here start a new week, they tell us it's another week without a trial, without a conviction. Richard Allen, now charged with 2 counts of murder, is due back in court for a bail hearing later this week. That's also when the judge is expected to set a new trial date. But right now, Allen's attorneys are asking for more time to review evidence from the state. The judge has yet to rule on that motion.
The dogs, the dogs, the dogs. Okay, so an unspent .40 caliber round discovered between the bodies of the two young girls was, they were found just off of a hiking trail that led investigators to their spot. They're saying they were actually found at the very end of a creek. Thanks, Mexi. So yeah, they were located at the end of, it was like a rickety old train bridge. And that is at the end of that where they said, go down the hill or down the hill. There is still a lot left of that recording that we have not heard. I think they say we've heard something like 5 or 7 seconds, and there's about 40 some seconds of the actual video. So an examination showed that that bullet was still live, but had been cycled through a 6 Sauer P226. Now, this was owned by Richard Allen, allegedly. So Allen is 50 years old, father of 2. And he worked as a pharmacy tech in the local CVS in Delphi. So remembering that Delphi is just a tiny, tiny spot on the map. I was saying earlier, hidden in plain sight is a good way to describe this one. So they did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between Abby and Libby. So there is a 12-page affidavit that was unsealed by the judge, Francis C. Gull. I do have that, but we'll see how long we get into this today. So he purchased a gun in 2001 and told investigators he never allowed anyone else to use or borrow it. So Libby German was 14 and Abby Williams 13. When they went out for a walk, it was Valentine's Day or the day before Valentine's Day. It was actually a long weekend for them. Oh, no, not a mistake, Mexi. I don't know. Hopefully I wasn't doing that for very long. Oh, my God. So, okay. So their remains were found the next day near the, I think it's called Deer Creek. So their clothes allegedly were in the creek, and they were basically up on the bank. And it looked like a fairly steep drop off. The pictures and videos of that area are kind of deceiving because there is a lot of banks, high banks for the water. So police said a couple of years later that they believe the perpetrator was someone who lived or worked in the area or frequently visited. After sifting through countless tips and interviews, Ellen was arrested in late October, so that's 2022. Although, now I find this interesting, prosecutors have not ruled out the possibilities that others were involved. So I, in my mind, cannot get the Keegan Kline, that whole thing out of my head. If he is not involved in some area of this, whether it's directly or setting things up, I will be very, very surprised. And again, I do believe that there's possibility of this going a little bit deeper than this. So there wouldn't have been an inkling to anyone that knew him that would have expected him to do something like that. And that's something we hear all the time, isn't it? In addition to the ballistics evidence, the affidavit, hey, you too. No WWF. So Tuesday reveals other previously unknown details surrounding the shocking double unalived. And when it says here that it haunted the tiny town of Delphi, it literally haunted the tiny town of Delphi. Investigators believe Abby and Libby were dropped off shortly before 2 p.m. near the entrance of the Monon High Trail Bridge, where they planned to hike on February 13th, according to the affidavit. A brief video later found on Libby's cell phone captured a white man in a blue jacket walking on an abandoned railroad bridge at 2:13 p.m. In audio later released by police, you can hear him saying, "Guys, down the hill." But the newly unsealed affidavit reveals one of the girls could also be heard saying, "Gun." So this is something I heard quite some time ago, and it came from a good source. So I do tend to believe that he either had a gun or he was making gestures to make it seem like he had a gun. So this is going to be just brief.
Guys. Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill.
So yeah, that is basically over 5.5 years what was given out, along with 2 different sketches of people that they thought were bridge guy. One was a young picture that looked nothing like the other picture of an older fellow. So then the police started saying, well, just watch the way the guy walks. Don't pay attention to the sketches. It's like, oh my word, not confusing at all. Oh my word. The affidavit states clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to, here we go, German and Williams, south of where their remains were located. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round between the girls. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. And I have to say, when it comes to that stuff, I know nothing. I've heard people say that these marks could not be there. I've heard other people say, well, they absolutely can be there. So I guess it's going to come down to experts, and I'm sure they will fight on both sides. So investigators also interviewed 3 young girls who said that they ran into a kind of creepy man in a blue jacket on the same trail that day. One of the group said hello to the man, whose response was glaring at her, and he kept walking. The man, who the affidavit said matched the cell phone video, was walking with a purpose. He knew where he was going, one of the witnesses stated. So, yeah, isn't that too creepy? Like the picture of Anthony Schatz, which is who allegedly they wanted to meet. That's who the girls were expecting, was this Anthony Schatz. And the guy that went by Anthony Schatz was Keegan Kline. So that adds another element to this. And then you get Richard Allen, and he looks like this guy, admits being there. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's, I keep thinking of more and more and more. This case in 5.5 years, honestly, they have dug deep. So I'm thinking with this extra time that they have, they are doing the exact same thing. A woman who was on the trail that day also told the police she remembered encountering a man wearing a blue jacket who matched the man in the video. The unnamed woman said she recalled seeing no other adults on her walk besides that man. So they say he had parked his vehicle in an odd manner at an old CPS building near the trail entrance. So again, there's been so much said about this vehicle, what type of vehicle, how long it was parked there. There has been so many red herrings that if we don't stick to people that they have, who basically have to be honest, or we think they have to be honest, which is not, sadly, a lot of newspapers. It's not a lot of, it's not everyone on social media. A lot of people just want, I don't know, moment of fame. So it says here, she stated it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but what she noticed was the manner that it was parked, backed in near the building. So, which is interesting because I believe out there they don't need a front plate. So another tip came from a man who said he'd been driving by the CPS building that same day and spotted a purple PT Cruiser, or a small SUV type vehicle. So, okay, remember the PT Cruiser, the purple one, because as it happens, Keegan Klein's father, Tony Klein, okay, Tony's mother owns a purple PT Cruiser. What are the chances of there being, in these small little rural towns, another purple PT Cruiser? In my mind, no, I don't see it. I don't see it. So it appears that this vehicle was also backed in. So there we are. So they could conceal the license plate. Someone else described the vehicle as perhaps a smart car. So what this is making me wonder, is there a possibility that they're talking about two separate vehicles? Is there a possibility that people were there at just slightly different times? And some vehicles, like a purple PT Cruiser, is going to stick out. And Richard Allen's vehicle was smaller. So for them to say that there's a possibility that, what did they call that kind of vehicle? But yeah, an SUV type vehicle. So let's see here. And a motorist informed the detectives that she had seen a man. Okay. This is interesting also. She had seen a man in a blue jacket walking along a road near the trail entrance on February 13th, and that he appeared to be muddy and bloody, according to the affidavit. So I don't know, that sticks out to me. How about you? I don't know. Do you report something like that if you see a guy in that shape? I don't know. So the man investigators believe was Allen was not seen again on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with Abby and Libby, is what it said, adding he then walked back to his car along County Road 300 North, which is not too difficult to get to from where this attack happened. So let's see here. Investigators also reviewed past tips and honed in on an interview with another officer that was conducted with Ellen in 2017. So now with this, what I find interesting as well, because they are saying that interview with another officer. The other officer, the fellow that he talked to, was, I don't know what you guys call them out there. He was a nature cop. He wasn't regular. He was checking fishing licenses, making sure guns were registered, things like that. And Richard Allen happened to bump into this guy at a grocery store. And he said, oh yeah, I was there. Yeah, I didn't see anything. And that is what they're considering a talk with law enforcement. Allen claimed that he had been on the trail between 1:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. on February 13th, and that he had seen the three females while walking the Freedom Bridge. So that was him, obviously, if they're saying it and he's saying it. He said he hadn't interacted with them at all and that he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. So they're saying that he was following the stock market on his phone while he was walking through a nature path. Okay. So the fact that he didn't speak to them also is in line with what the girls said. Investigators dug into his personal history and found he owned a 2016 Ford Focus, which can look similar in nature to a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or a Smart. So I think the PT Cruiser in my brain, I think I know whose that is. Like this there? I don't know. So if they've seen that and they've seen a small SUV, is it possible that there was two vehicles there, either at the same time or different times? On October 13th, 2022, so just this last October, investigators questioned Allen, who stuck to his story. He insisted he hadn't seen anyone on the trail that day back in 2017, and that the juvenile girls near the Freedom Bridge, Allen said, other than the juvenile girls on the Freedom Bridge. He also said that he owned guns and that he kept them at home. The same day, investigators executed a search warrant at his house and located jacket, boots, knives, firearms, including a 6 Sauer model P226 .40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627, and that's what it states in the affidavit. So what are the chances here? What are the chances? Over the next 5 days, the Indiana State Police Crime Lab tested the weapon and determined that the unspent round located within 2 feet of the girls had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. So if there is an issue with this, it's going to be that it had not gone through the chamber or the barrel, I suppose, anything. So they're wondering how it can be proven with the marks on this bullet. How can they tell if it's the same as Allen's? I don't know. That's not my area, but they do sound, I mean, everything that has been explained does sound like it is the same gun. So whether or not when trial comes, he'll be able to throw doubt in there, we'll have to see. So Allen was at a total loss to explain how this unused bullet from his weapon was beside the girls. He again admitted that he was on the trail, but denied knowing Abby and Libby and denied any involvement in the unalivings. So he admits to wearing all those clothes that, I don't know, will we get there in this particular, but he does admit that he was wearing all the clothes that Bridge Guy was. They were very similar in dress. He does place himself on that bridge at that time, but he is saying, no, there was nobody there, just me. And he actually said that he was up there on this extremely high bridge watching fish jump. Oh my word. I have a very hard time when I've followed some of these cases. Now this one's 6 years. And someone seems in my eyes to be guilty in my eyes. When they say that they're not, it upsets me because now I think about what the families have to continue to go through. I don't know. I guess that's why we've got the court system, but same thing with the other case with the university students from Idaho. This guy in that case, same idea. Like, if it wasn't him, I don't know. Maybe the tooth fairy. He's pulling the same kind of stuff, and I find it frustrating. So in November 2022, so a few months back, unsealing hearing, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin argued that releasing the affidavit would raise more questions than answers. At the same time, Baldwin called the details contained within nothing for us to worry about. The court finds that the public interest is not served by prohibiting access and that the protection and safety of the witnesses can be ensured by redacting their names from the affidavit, and that the defendant's personal information can be removed from the charging informations. Baldwin and co-counsel Brad Rossi have asked the court to move Ellen's trial at least 150 miles out of town. In a motion, they argued it is common sense to presume residents from counties further away from Carroll County will not have the same level of investment in the case, and therefore will be able to more fairly decide the matter without concern of how their verdict may affect their relationship with other Carroll County residents. So it says that here that he was due back in court on February 17th, and that is the one that I've mentioned a few times that was a bail hearing. Hello, Dandy. Good to see you, friend. So, yeah, this case here, oh my word. Oh my word. So, this is a little bit longer. So I think what I'll do is we'll take a look at this. Okay. So this one here says defense attorney gives insight 6 years after the Delphi unalivings. Defense. So let's see what they have to say.
Here for Canada, delivering the service.
I'm sorry. I don't like hearing them. Okay.
To get through before discussing bail in a jury trial setting. I wanted to get an attorney's perspective on this and other issues in this case.
6 years without teenage best friends Libby German and Abby Williams, and their alleged killer, 50-year-old Richard Allen, working his way through the court system. Paul Namey and Joseph Bauer are defense attorneys not affiliated with this case, but say it would be a tough one to work on.
Delphi is probably 10 times at least more complicated than what we went through. And it's going to take a long time for everybody to get through and figure out how relevant, how important all that evidence is.
With nationwide publicity, the special judge has allowed for the jury for Richard Allen's trial to be pulled from Allen County. Namey and Bauer have worked with a jury from another county for John Schultz IV, the Rochester teen convicted in a school shooting plot. They say it could be a challenge to find jurors who don't know about the Delphi murders or could give an honest opinion based on facts.
The more exposure there is, it's almost like you're always going to have somebody who's going to know something about it.
They'll probably call 200 or more or spread it out over a period of days. And we've had cases that will have jury selection go multiple days just because you need to find an unbiased jury.
According to the probable cause documents, an unspent bullet found between the girls' bodies was forensically determined to have cycled through Allen's gun. While there are other studies challenging this type of forensic testing, Bauer says the bullet is a major piece of evidence.
That's a lot that the defense will have to get past because it's circumstantial evidence to at least place him there at the time of this happening.
The special judge has not made a decision yet on if Friday's hearing will be moved, and she had previously expressed a doubt about the trial happening as it's scheduled in March. At the live desk, I'm Erica Franky, WSBT 22 News.
So, yeah,
And
that
our team
is something that the judge has said more than once, that she doesn't quite know if they will be ready for that March court for the trial to begin. I can't see how they can be ready, but hey, I don't know. I don't know how 6 years of information, how they can be ready, but it's been 6 years since teenage best friends Libby German and Abby Williams were unalived in Delphi. Their unaliver, 50-year-old Richard Allen, is working his way through the court system and did ask for bail. However, defense requests a hearing be moved, citing a massive amount of evidence to get through. See, that makes sense to me. WSBT 22 News spoke with defense attorneys Paul, I don't know how you would say that, Nami, and Joseph Bauer and Nami Bauer and Associates, who are not affiliated with this case, but said it would be a tough one to work on. Delphi is probably 10 times at least more complicated than what we went through, and it's going to take a long time for everybody to figure it all out. So let's see here. However, the nationwide attention, Nami said it could be a challenge to find jurors who don't know about the Delphi unalivings. Well, and that is a fact. I mean, they are going to bring their jurors in from another area, but this is not only nationwide. I'm in Canada, and I've been following this for 6 years. So instead of 60 or 70 citizens called for jury selection, they'll probably call 200 more or spread it out over a period of days. According to Allen's redacted probable cause documents, that .40 caliber bullet found between the girls was forensically determined to have been cycled through Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. And just like he was saying a second ago, they do have to work themselves through that. Judge Gull hasn't responded to the defense request, but previously expressed doubt that this would be ready for the scheduled March. Okay. Yeah, the beginning of the trial in March. I can't see how that would be possible. But like I said, I don't know. I'm not, that's not my profession. So this here is emotional.
L'année passée, j'ai comme aujourd'hui, je vous expliquais qu'en année, j'avais fait 100 000.
For me, the number one question that remains unanswered is that after the arrest of Richard Allen, the prosecutor made a point of saying there was a possibility that other people were involved.
Exactly.
L'année passée, j'étais dehors, il neigeait comme aujourd'hui, je vous expliquais qu'en année, j'avais fait 100 000.
remains were found more than 20 miles from where Susanna Morales was last seen alive.
No. So the sister of Delphi victim, Libby German, has shared a heartbreaking tribute on the 6th anniversary of her loved one's death, expressing a different tone this time around. This is the first time that this date has come where there's been somebody there to be accountable for what happened. So Kelsey German is 22. She shared a Snapchat on Monday from the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi, Indiana, where Libby, 14, and her best friend, Abby Williams, 13, were last seen alive on Valentine's Day, 2017. Happy Valentine's, ladies. Happy Valentine's. Hope you get spoiled rotten. So this here is Kelsey and Libby. She says here, we take this walk every year. This year felt different, but I miss you the same. That's Richard Allen sitting in the hoosegow. Abby and Libby. Oh, my word. The change in tone from Kelsey comes after investigators finally made a breakthrough in the years-long cold case last October when they arrested suspect Richard Allen. We know that Abby and Libby were found on February 14th, 2017, not far from the Monon High Bridge. Libby's mother has previously opened up about the last conversation she shared with Libby. Carrie Germain said she is regularly brought back to the final words she exchanged with her daughter, unaware of the tragedy to befall her. Earlier that day, I had spoken with Libby, Carrie 44, told The Sun in an emotional interview last June. I usually talk to her every morning, whether it be Snapchat message or sometimes a video call or text. And that morning we were Snapchatting back and forth. She was laying on the bed and I asked why she was doing that. And she said, oh, Mommy, we got the day off school. They were just lounging around, not really doing anything at that time. Okay, so this gets back into, we were just chit-chatting back and forth like we always did. Everything was just nice and seemed normal. Little did I know it soon wouldn't be. So then we know that Richard Allen was arrested. And they're talking here about the video on Libby's phone. And they are asking if anybody knows anything else about this case to get in touch with them. They are still looking for more information. And the court case has not started. So, I mean, if you know anything, reach out, please. So let's see here. It's never been revealed how Abby and Libby were unalived, although the girls' bodies were reportedly posed and items of clothing had been taken as trophies. I really hope, if that's the case, that they found those trophies. Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McClelland believes that Richard Allen is probably not the only suspect involved. We have good reason to believe that he was not alone. See, that's big. That is very big. That there could be other actors is how he phrased it. Judge Francis Gull has issued a gag order, and to me, they seem to be still following the rules. The ruling prohibits lawyers, police, and family members from speaking about the case in public. Meanwhile, legal teams are only allowed to speak with the media about procedural items. So this is the Monon High Bridge, and this is the last picture, sadly, taken of Abby. Sorry. Libby. You see how I am today? Abby, Libby, like I don't have a clue, as if. But yeah, this is the last picture of Abby, taken from Libby's phone. And of course, this is Richard Allen with his wife's face kind of blotted out. I'm a little distracted. The dogs have me spinning. Well, hello, James. Good to see you, friend. So let's see here. Delphi teenagers' dreams killed 6 years ago. Families await justice. Like teenagers do, Libby German and Abby Williams likely believed 6 years ago that the best days of their lives still laid ahead of them. Sadly, they never got the opportunity to follow their dreams or even live their lives. It tells us here basically about school being out. The temperature was beautiful, a high of 45 degrees, and the girls did get permission to go to the trails. So a family member dropped them off, as we know, is Kelsey. She's said this very many times, that she can't get the picture of the girls just starting to walk off into the trails out of her mind. So when the girls didn't show up for their ride home, Libby and Abby's family began searching for them. And they started searching for them pretty toot sweet. When sun dawned the next day, search parties, police, firefighters, friends, classmates, and people who never even knew the girls searched the trails. One of the search parties did find them unalive on the north side of Deer Creek, about a quarter mile east of the Monon High Bridge. So as we know, it did take 6 years, 5.5, to arrest Richard Allen. So we're not wanting to forget there has been, like I said, other people. There's been Ron Logan, Keegan Klein, Tony Klein. Are they still players? I'm hoping this comes out in the trial. So Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McClelland charged Allen on October 28th for 2 counts of unaliving. Idaho law requires that all arrests, the same age and identifying information, as well as suspects' crimes, must be released within 24 hours of the arrest. And I tell you what, everybody went crazy when they waited just a few days longer and then got this gag order. Media seems to think, and not just mainstream, like a lot of media seems to think that we're entitled to a lot of the things that we really are not entitled to. So it says here, Indiana State Police waited until their news conference on October 31st to release his name and charges. So realistically, 5 days? So, well, not even. Let's see here, because they didn't lay charges until the 28th. So even less time, right? So this is Becky Patty and Mike Patty. These are Libby's grandparents. Over the years, Libby German's grandfather, Mike Patty, became a voice for the family and spearheaded efforts to keep the girls' memories in the public's memories and mind. The girls' memories in the public's mind and their own memories. Like, you know, there's certain pictures that I will see that will even bring me back to the day that I heard about this. So can you imagine how these families suffer? It's somewhat bittersweet, he said to the news outlets October 31st after the conference. We've still got now, okay, how's that? We've got a big mountain ahead of us, okay? And we're gonna stay after it. We have never given up, and you guys have not given up on us. We're gonna keep pushing. So since his arrest, a court order bars family members, police and prosecutors, and his defense team from commenting on the case. Allen remains incarcerated, waiting for his trial. No bond. Prosecutors' probable cause affidavit links Allen to the semi-automatic bullet found at the crime scene. Hopefully they have more information than just that. The bullet, prosecutors say, has tool markings that indicate it was ejected from Allen's pistol. I don't understand this. I've not been around guns like a lot of people. So I'm not quite sure how the tool markings are there if it's unspent. But if anyone wants to, in the comments, explain that to me, I'd truly appreciate it. So police and prosecutors have not released how the girls were unalived, but remembering that Libby's phone was recording their unaliver as he came across that bridge. And by the sounds of it, it was Abby that said, he's got a gun. So this is allegedly, and like I said, the sources, this is going to be out there in different articles. But like I said, and it does tell you who that conversation was with. So I'm not going to bring up the name, but it's out there if you want to, and it's someone close to that case. So Alan's attorney suggested that his February 17th bond hearing be postponed. As of Thursday, judge has not ruled on the motion. So as we know, again, he didn't get bail. So how are you guys doing? I'd love to go to that area, Mexi. I would. To put things into perspective, right? You've done some awesome mapping. And wouldn't it be awesome to be able to put the mapping that you've done against a personal experience going out there? Did pick up RA when he admitted being on the trail around. That's it. That's it. He admitted, bagpipes. Sorry. So he admitted being there. He admitted wearing those clothes. He admitted seeing those kids. He puts himself there in a very, very big way. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how the hell they'll figure that one out. I really don't. So this here is the prosecutor. And I do believe, let's see when this was done. I do believe that he has something interesting for us to hear.
Il y a environ 4 ans, j'étais salariée dans un travail hyper stressant, hyper exigeant.
Suspected killer Richard Allen now sits in the White County Jail with 2 counts of murder for the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. The details why he was arrested still unclear. Law enforcement says the investigation is ongoing.
For that reason and for the nature of this case, the probable cause and the charging information has been sealed by the court.
Okay, that wasn't what I was looking for,
Il y a
but
environ
yeah.
4 ans, j'étais salariée.
It does explain that everything was sealed, gag ordered. An admission made by the wife of accused Delphi unaliver Richard Allen sparked a domino effect for DNA evidence that could cement his downfall, according to a former investigator. So, okay, did I read that right? Admission made by the wife of accused Richard Allen. Oh, what's this all about? Ex-FBI Special Agent in Charge Paul Keenan, who oversaw the Bureau's investigation into the unalivings of Libby German and Abby Williams for 2 years, spoke with the U.S. Sun ahead of Allen's appearance in Louisville court on Friday. Guys down the hill. And I do hear that his voice is also consistent with the voice that is caught on Libby's phone. So we know that he's been arrested. We know that they sealed the affidavit. Allen told police he'd been wearing jeans, a blue jacket. Okay, this is interesting. During an interview on October 13th, 2022. Allen told police he'd been wearing jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket that particular day, according to the affidavit. The clothing that he admitted wearing to the police matches the outfit worn by a man known as Bridge Guy, who was captured on video by Libby walking towards the two girls, instructing them to go down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Police have long believed that the individual to be the girl's unaliver. In a subsequent interview, Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, told investigators that her husband still owns a blue Carhartt jacket, the affidavit is saying. So that's damning. I would love to know what she is thinking right now. Did she recognize her husband? Excuse me. Is she recognizing that that's her husband coming across that bridge? Is she recognizing a voice? Is she recognizing the walk, the stance, anything? I mean, they were together forever. So I'm thinking, if she isn't recognizing him, that, is she that blind? Or, I don't know. I guess there's still the slight possibility that he's innocent. So he said that he believes investigators have already built a strong case against Allen, but the jacket could prove to be the final nail in the proverbial coffin. With the gun and in addition of Allen placing himself at the crime scene, with multiple witnesses describing seeing a man matching that description, it's seeming pretty strong to me. And it was his wife that admitted that that jacket was still in the house. They also did, okay, now this is what I've heard, allegedly. They dug up a little section in the back by a shed. So what I heard, we were all trying to figure out what the hell was dug out. So by the sounds of things, it was their dead cat. And they wanted samples of its fur. So we do know that there was animal hair found at the scene of the crime, because it is on the affidavit. So let's see here. After 10 minutes, Judge Francis C. Gull ruled that Allen's trial will take place in Carroll County, despite previous objections from his defense. So this article just came out a few days ago. Sadly, there is not as much out there as I would like to see. This came out yesterday. So there's just not enough out there in my mind. So I would assume, So I would assume that they took a bunch of clothing from his house as a result, and they're probably testing the jacket for DNA right now because someone saw a man. I'm sorry. My throat is dry. DNA right now because someone saw a man matching his description covered in mud and blood. Going down that road. I absolutely think there will still be DNA of value on that coat. So I would love, the testing is probably back. I would be very interested to know if any of it is helping the case. So it is, as it says here, a very compelling case. Richard Allen appeared in person on Friday for a morning brief hearing in connection with his upcoming trial. Citing convenience for victims, this is talking about Judge Francis Gull ruled Allen's trial will take place in Carroll County despite the objections. Citing convenience for the victim's family and witnesses, Gull said the cost of relocating Allen's trial would be extraordinary. However, she acknowledged that finding an unbiased jury member or biased jury members would be difficult, if not impossible. So she did agree to bus in jurors from a different county. I don't know how much that will help because everybody has heard about this. or should have by this time. The judge gave the prosecution and the defense a week to decide which county they would like to select a jury pool from. So I don't think that they've done that yet. I haven't heard that they have decided. Says that he did not speak in court and remained silent and was led back out of the courthouse in cuffs. So they are saying that official date will be determined on the bond hearing. Oh, what am I doing? I thought that. Oh, it's January. Good God, guys. You see the day I'm having? So anyways, I would like to know up to date. We know that, of course, that the February 14th bond hearing, he was denied. And we also know that the pistol is being used as evidence. And they did take all of that stuff out of his house and around his yard. But they are still saying that he may not have acted alone and that they have good reason to believe so. So again, if you hear anything, not even necessarily about Richard Allen, other people, other names that people may not have heard. And this is the Monon High Bridge. It doesn't really show how high this is, but I can promise you, you cannot see fish jump. So in the newly unsealed affidavit, multiple witnesses reported seeing a man who one described as creepy that matched his description. So one of the people that has been looked at previously was Ronald Logan, and he owned the property where the girls were found. His his house was literally less than 1,400 feet away. So we do have the search warrant. And I guess my question with this has always been, if he had, there's a lot to Ronald Logan. That is, I probably have him on my playlist. There's so much about him, so much. And I think that the biggest thing to me is if you want to lie to somebody, would you have left them on your property? So an agent wanted to search his home, outbuildings, vehicles, everything that pertained to the girls unaliving. They got forensic evidence, hair, bodily fluids, guns, cutting instruments, and documents. Also animal fur from there as well. Now, after doing all of this work, they still said that he was not a participant. Like I said, though, his name is floating around again. He reportedly told investigators a friend had picked him up from his home on February 13th between 2 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. so he could go to an aquarium store. So this is the part here that causes some trouble, because he was asking someone to lie for him. And this was asked before the girls were actually found the next day. So very, very suspicious. He has a reputation for violence, and yeah, this is him there. A search warrant on Ron Logan's property was ordered by investigators in March of 2017. And this is Keegan Klein, and he is behind the catfishing account. So this again is the last picture taken of Libby. Here's the tip line. You can still call it 1-844-459-5786. So that's Trailhead. So yes. So John John Benet Ramsey's dad, he actually made contact with Libby German's grandma. And I mean, if nothing else, they met at CrimeCon. And if nothing else, he can relate. He's 79 already. And they also actually, with that, it does sound like they have found new DNA associated with John Benet that's not related to a family member, not related to, it's just DNA that's not been noticed before. So I'm really, really hoping that it can maybe answer some questions. You know, technology has come a long way, and maybe they will get treated a little bit better, or her father or her brother will get treated a little bit better because it was not the family. So, James, leaving the bodies on your own property. Yeah, that's my biggest thing, is would he actually leave them on his property? But you're right. Why get the alibi for 3:30? It's all very suspect. It is. He's very, very suspect. I'm the same as you, Dandy. I still wonder. I still do. I know the reason why he was arrested and why they felt that he needed a possible alibi, but he was driving around in the morning, right? And he had suspended license, right? Oh, that's what I think. I can't see that either, James, but something could have gone wrong. He could have been a patsy, part of the crew, and too many things. See, absolutely. What? They are still looking for others that they believe are involved or were involved. So if that's the case, it leaves that door open for him, for Keegan Kline, for, there was others previously, I don't have their names right now, but they were SA offenders in that area, that a few of them actually looked very close to these drawings, but at the same time, they were eliminated, which again makes me think, do you, James? Ooh, do tell. Yeah, there's so many different things that still have to be clarified when it comes to this case. Is there a possibility, like these guys were just saying, that he ultimately was involved? Absolutely. Absolutely. Same thing with Keegan, same thing with his dad, and same things with the other ones that have been scratched off the list. So they, I believe, will, I don't know. I hope they've got the information that they need to get this case solved and find the other people that are possibly involved with this. I think Keegan Kline, like I said, I believe he is involved, and I think he might be the key holder. He has said way too much, and I do believe in my own mind that he was why they searched the river, and I do believe they possibly found something when they did that. He was Googling things like, there was just up the highway, there's a gas station, and Keegan Kline that same day was Googling that gas station. There's so many strange things that we don't know. And if Tony Kline isn't involved, that will shock me as well, because somebody used grandma's PT Cruiser in my mind. How many PT Cruisers that are bright purple do you see? I don't think I've ever seen one in all the years. So yeah, that's we'll find out more. We'll see if they're going to be able to go ahead in March, and if so, I'll be doing all the headlines as much as I can. I was doing daily streams of the Alex. Oh, you see where I'm at, guys? The Murdaugh case. And honestly, what was happening is I wasn't able to work on my other cases, and it was bothering me. I still want to work on the Idaho kids. I still want to be able to do my updates on these girls. There's so many things that I still want to cover. And with that said, I am still going to follow that trial and talk about it. I think that there's a lot going on in that case that is just coming out as well. The way that, I don't know, Alex Murdaugh that night, the way he behaved, it's just like, oh my God. So yeah, I'll probably do more lives on that, if not fast videos to give information. And I might actually be giving an update later today, depending on how things go on today's trial. I took notes most of the day, and it was actually quite interesting. Oh, yeah, John Bonet's trial. Who leaves a ransom note but leaves the child deceased? I can't wrap my mind around that. That was pretty bizarre. That was pretty bizarre. Maybe that's a good one for us to look into. And yeah, I would like to look into John Bonet a little bit. And I don't even think we've got John Bonet in Discord, so I will add her there. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Not up to snuff, so a little bit airheaded. So I appreciate you guys. I so much do. And I know I say it all the time, but I don't think you understand how much I appreciate you. All of yous. So friends, I will jump off for now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.